Hey guys, I'm Ash.
And I'm Pete.
We're two friends with a combo of 7 kids ranging from toddlers to 20s and 2 crazy husbands.
Our paths were not easy. With childhood battle wounds, divorce, second marriages and all, we somehow found each other. And together we talk real life, laugh, cry, and figure out how to survive the day.
Music is by Dustbowl Champion. To hear Dustbowl Champion's newest hits, search Dustbowl Champion on Spotify. Hey guys, it's Ash and P.
Hey.
We are back and ready to talk about Easter.
Yeah, Easter. Well, how was your Easter morning? Because we saw each other in the evening.
We did see each other in the evening. Easter morning, we went to church. It was really, really good. We had a great sermon. I'm laughing because I'm thinking back to Hayden. I feel like I needed that. For a while, I felt like I needed it.
Yeah.
Hayden said, "Oh my gosh, did you see all those people walking up, like people to get baptized?" And I said, "No, I was worshiping." He goes, "I know, you were really in it." I really was. I just felt it was a good Sunday for me.
Good.
So it was good. And then we had family over. Jace, because I served second service, so Jace and I drove separate. Jace and Hayden went home. They got the house ready. My baby brother and his family came over, and my mom and her husband came over, and it was good. We were missing my younger brother, Steven, and his family, but him and his wife had to work. So
did you guys do eggs or anything for the kids?
We did not. They normally go to my sister-in-law's parents for Easter. So we had a little bit of time, like a few hours, and then they went and did Easter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
so.
Not like, the teens, that's why we got together in the evening, right? So that the teens could do a glow in the dark.
Yeah. They would not have been as money eggs. They're interested in that.
Yeah.
But they would not have been we didn't even dye eggs this year.
We didn't either. And normally we do.
And you had all the cousins over.
I know, but we decorated cookies. We
that's really
Easter
cute.
Egg cookies. And that was actually really, really cute. My sister-in-law
and less messy. I know frosting can be bad, but
no, it was really good. It was perfect. But we just kind of got away with it. I had family come into town, so my in-laws came in.
Yeah.
We had the kids all over Friday night.
Yeah.
Friday was kind of a cluster of a day. That was we talked
that
about
morning,
that,
and it was a rough one for you.
So then Saturday we had, like I said, my in-laws coming in,
right?
Trying to get the house prepped. You know how that's like when you're trying to get everything together.
Yes.
For people to come and stay. And then we had everyone over Sunday, and we did go to church on Sunday. We took my in-laws with us, which was awesome. They hadn't been to church since COVID.
Before, that had to have been so nice.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh my gosh," my father-in-law's like, "I haven't been to church in a year." This is crazy.
That was probably like so good for him.
Yeah, I think it was really neat. And so it was good, but it was a mad rush. It kind of ran a little long, and everyone was supposed to be over for brunch. So I was like mad dashing it to get.
What time did service end?
Like 10:40.
What time was everyone supposed to be
11? Yeah. I had done a lot of prep before.
Yeah,
but
you're really good about that.
But like
there are things you can't do
there's
ahead.
Things you can't. Yeah, and I'm not going to have cold bacon and stuff.
No.
So it was fine. My family's easygoing about it.
Not like everyone's like, "I need to eat right when I get here." And I'm sure you had appetizers.
We had plenty.
Little things to snack on.
We had plenty of stuff out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. The kids did good. We did do an egg hunt. We had plenty of little kids. So we did.
Oh, I wish I would have seen that.
An egg hunt with all the littles.
Sent a video of that.
Yeah, they did really good. We did, we had it all on the walking trail and stuff
Mhm.
for them, and in the front yard. 'Cause since we have the pool in the back, I didn't want to even mess
No.
with that with the little ones. And then we did the glow in the dark at night. So that was neat.
Yes. That was so neat. Yeah.
These are like fun. This is the thing about like, we're going to talk today about kids, and those are the great moments about these kinds
Mhm.
of things. We're in that different stage with our older ones.
Right.
Like,
Where I think where you had planned a glow in the dark hunt, that is awesome.
yeah.
I think that is perfect for them. I think they loved it. I think they had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
They seem
because
to
they're
really
still
enjoy it.
kids.
They are, but
they're
it's like
big
a
kids.
different level.
Yes.
You know, like glow in the dark, being out there in the dark, not
Yeah.
being able to see, you know, it's
Yeah.
not like super lit out
Yeah,
there.
right.
So I feel like when I say lit, it's like, let's get lit.
Lit. Isn't that what the kids say now?
That's what,
Or,
well, I don't
the
know.
shirt
Do they
is
say-
lit, right? Or like your shirt is lit, don't they say?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or is that like last year?
That it could have been last year. I'm not very cool, so I don't know. Our kids can let us know when they listen to this.
I
if
know.
we're lame or
Not that we're going to talk about teens today, but you know, they make up these weird words.
they
like
do.
Gucci.
Yeah, that's
Like,
Gucci.
oh, that's Gucci. I'm like, well, Gucci's a brand, so
Right.
I don't understand.
No, that's not Gucci. You got it at Target.
What are you talking
So shut your
about?
mouth.
Yeah.
Or how they always want to call us boomers.
Oh yeah.
And then they get mad at us that we take it literally. No, we are not boomers. Boomers are if you're born. We're not really saying that.
Yeah.
We're saying you're
taking it
oh,
so blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. It's like,
yeah, we
but
do
that's-
take it literally because you're saying that.
that's what you're saying.
And we also think
Yeah.
maybe you sound dumb because you don't know what a boomer is.
Yeah. I know.
So even though we said psych when we were younger, which I mean, what does that even mean? Right?
yeah.
But it's different because we're not young now saying stupid stuff.
I know. And some
So-
of the things I'm just like, what in the
Yes.
world?
But I think they loved it. I think it was perfect for them, right
Yeah.
up their alley. They had so much fun. The littles even got to join in.
Do a little, yeah.
That was cute.
yeah.
Well, I think we probably need to carry that on because
Yeah.
a regular Easter egg hunt, you know, for when I say, oh, I wish that you would have sent a video of the littles because that
It's
is
so
the perfect age.
It is. It is.
It is when they can't find it and they're looking so hard and everyone's around their age,
right.
you know,
Or
my-
they find the one egg, and then like my nephew was doing this. He would find the one egg, and he's the same age as Danny. He'd find the one egg, and he was so happy.
focused on that
Yeah,
one.
and so he just had to open it. He
yeah.
just wanted to go all through that one egg.
Didn't need to go
and they're like,
anywhere
go
else.
find another, go find
Yeah,
another one. And
go.
he was just
so
happy with the
content.
one.
And they are, and that's such a good age. When you mentioned the littles, I'm thinking back to when the boys were younger and they would do Easter egg hunts
Yeah.
and how cute it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really do think they enjoyed the glow in the dark one, and I loved that. But it's just a different
It's different.
kind.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like our older ones, their excitement was, can we get one with money or with a scratcher?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
can we get one of those?
Yeah.
That's where their excitement comes from.
Right.
You know, they have fun doing it.
yeah.
Obviously, they want to find the most eggs or whatever it is because they want to beat each other.
Yeah.
But the littles they're just so, they get excited about that egg. Like you were
Yeah.
saying, your nephew, that one egg.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
could care less what's in it.
Yeah.
They just really are just like it's a prize.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it could be one
the
jelly bean and they
excitement's
don't
so
care.
right.
Yeah.
If our older ones got one jelly bean, it would
Oh,
have probably
gosh.
ended up in the trash.
Yeah.
You know,
It would have been like
would have been good because our older ones were like, yeah, you probably don't need to be eating
all that candy.
especially, you know, they're not active like they were before.
I know. That's been a
So,
big thing too, their nutrition.
yeah.
But we had a good Easter. The little ones right now are so adorable and so cute.
Yes.
And I want to talk today about adding kids to the mix.
right.
Pregnancy and all, and kind of how that changes
Everything.
everything, and
Yeah.
including you and your body and
Oh,
your
gosh.
mind and your sleep. So Ash, you had Hayden at, how old are you?
I think 23.
23.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
I hope. Yeah.
23. Okay. And
22.
22. Okay, something like that.
22 or 23.
Early 20s.
I'll do the math
20s.
real quick. Math is not my jam. I think I've said that before, but yeah, I was early 20s, 22 or 23 for sure. One of
which
those.
I'm going to tell you right now. I had Tristan. I was 20.
22.
You were 22.
Yeah, I did the math.
I was
With a
20
calculator.
when I had Tristan, almost 21, and
I know you were young.
it is so different than having kids in your 30s.
Yeah, you get to really tell us about that.
Holy moly. But you and Jason were not married yet?
Not married. We were not, no. And Hayden likes to bring that up because I tell the boys, you need to save yourself for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people think that's unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen for me. But I also tell my boys, I didn't really find Christ until after Hayden was born.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I always had like a little, like I would talk to God. We would go to church here and there when I was younger, but I didn't have that relationship. I didn't commit my life to him until after Hayden was born. So
and I'm going to ask you this, Hayden, close your ears if you're listening to our podcast.
oh gosh,
but
I hope you're not asking what he was about. What he asked.
No, but do you truly tell your kids to save themselves for
Yeah.
marriage?
Yeah, I really do. I do.
And you truly feel in your heart that is the right thing to do?
I think so.
Is that because of just like all around, like your experience and religion and everything? Or
Yes.
is that?
It's everything. So I know, and again, it's not a lot of people. Some people, I've listened to podcasts and some people are like, oh, I would have the percentage of people that actually save themselves for marriage. And it is not a very high percentage, but they say, I would have thought it was higher. And I think, and maybe because I didn't, I think it is not very high.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have one set of friends, I believe, that waited until marriage. But I just think their relationship is so special too.
Yeah.
So my experience with them, and I think
looking back at your experience and your mistakes.
Yeah. And even if say Jason hadn't, because obviously he was married before, they were married after they had Kyla. So it wasn't like, they were married and then had a kid or anything like that. But I look back and I think even if now Jason and I may not have dated if I was like this perfect, wholesome person, it probably wouldn't have happened because Jason is not, that's not his area. No. I don't know how to say it nicely. That is not who my husband is.
Yeah.
But
that wasn't a little part of his heart that he was like, I'm going to do that.
No, that was not a part of his heart. But I think how special would that have been to be able to give that to him?
So, okay. Mm-hmm.
So I think of it that way.
Okay.
And then also the religious aspect,
I'm going to be a really bad Christian right now.
That's okay. Real talk. Real.
I don't agree.
That's okay.
And here's why. For me, this is in my setting on it. I think that if that is how you feel and you can, then I think that's awesome. Yeah. I would never knock anyone for doing that. Right. Absolutely not.
Right. Like no judgment.
No judgment at all. Like I think that is great. And you are right. It is very, very special. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it's very realistic in my head. And when I think of, and this is, obviously you never want to think about your kids ever like even going there, right? Like they're your babies.
They're never going to do it.
Babies. They're never going to have sex, never. But I feel like sometimes in relationships, and I wonder this with my ex-husband too. Like sometimes when they're your first, do you hold on extra tight because they're your first?
I think so.
And you ignore signs and you
so.
ignore things because you gave them that. And here's my thing. And maybe had we done that after we got married, it would be different. But
Right.
he was my 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And I did marry him, although
I feel like you're proving my point.
Okay, maybe
a little bit.
I guess I get like, if my daughter is going to be, you know, I don't know, if she's going to be with someone, I would.
Is it because you picture, say, your daughter being with someone, it being like high school and it not working out and they let go?
Yes.
Whereas if it's a marriage and it's a sucky one, she feels stuck.
Yes.
Because I'm going to assume your first husband was your first.
Yes.
So but even when it's not your first, if you ask my mom about my first,
you were stuck. Like
I was stuck. And my mom said she said, don't get me wrong, I liked him as a person, but I didn't like him with you. He made you cry a lot. These are all things I don't remember. I do remember toward the end he did, but in general, I don't remember it. And she's just like, no, he was not good. He made you cry all the time. And I didn't appreciate it. And I think I looked past things that I would not have because of that connection.
Right.
And I also don't like that. I guess where my thing is, I don't like that. Don't get me wrong. If it were going to be with anyone in my past, he would probably be the person I would want because we were together for a long time, but he's not the person I would want to have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's all a learning experience and all of that. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, between him, anyone else before my husband, he is the person that I would want it to be with.
Right.
But I also don't want it to be with him. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, just because I did look past things, I did accept things that I would not have accepted, I think, had I not.
So maybe, sorry, my kids are screaming in the background.
It's fine. They're okay.
So maybe, and maybe you're right. Maybe it's when they're married, when you wait until you're married and you share that special bond, maybe it gives an extra strength to your marriage. Maybe. when you're in your rocky times, you know, because there are going to be rocky times. Yeah. And maybe you hold on. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
I just feel like I'm like, don't marry the first person that you have sex with, because
so I'm gonna, you know what I mean? People are gonna be like, oh my gosh, and my mom is gonna be, oh my gosh. But my mom did tell me you have to test drive the car before you buy it.
Do you see what I mean?
And my mom's an amazing person, so don't judge her. And no judgment zone.
Granted, when it's your first, you have no idea. I mean, you don't know what's great and what's not and all that kind of stuff. But it's just like, yeah, I kind of also feel like I don't want my girls to be little hoochies. I was not. I was not. I mean, I was, but I also had some issues from childhood that carried
we
into
pray
that.
Our children never have.
Never.
Yes.
So I want my girls.
Do you think it's weird that I had some of those issues and I still was not like you?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that no, I think that everyone deals with it differently.
Yeah.
And we'll have to talk about that too,
right.
You know, because those are important topics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But I had Tristan at 20 from my husband, you know, all that. And
I feel like I want to turn this into a sex podcast rather than a baby podcast. I feel like I want to get into your sex life.
Well, I kind of feel like you may be onto something. We may have to
I know. We might have to. Yeah. We might have to skip where we might be headed and just jump straight to that next time.
This is why we try to come in with a little bit of a topic, but we kind of let it go because it's real talk.
I know. It's one of those things where we're like, yes, let's talk about this. And then we get going.
We open a Pandora's box of like.
I know. Anywho, so you had T at 21 with your first.
Yeah.
But you also feel like you stayed maybe longer than you would have. But do you think that's because you had T or I don't know, marriage?
So
there's a lot.
No, but here's the thing. So he was, and I've shared this. He was like he was also like a little bit of an escape from what was going on at home. I grew up. Home life was not very good for majority of it. Right. There were times. Don't get me wrong. I love my mom. I love my brothers, and it's not to say that we didn't have good times, but we also had a lot of darkness. Of
course.
And there was a lot of things going on in the home. And I was young and I was trying to find a way out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was, and I worked a lot. I worked and did things, but finding someone that obviously
could rescue you.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did rescue you. He did. And he was a saving grace mentally for me in a lot of those dark times.
Right.
And
that's hard to let go of.
That's hard to let go.
That's something we have discussed about some people, that we know that maybe are with someone that they probably shouldn't be with. And they definitely shouldn't like plant their seeds there.
Right.
But they were there for a really devastating time.
Yes.
And then you have that. Yeah.
And you have that thing that you share with that person with that. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of it is just, I think, you being vulnerable to that person and that person coming in and swooping you in at a really vulnerable part in your life.
Right. Especially if you have a lot of walls, you have a lot of scars and things to get over.
Yes.
If somebody was there and provided comfort for that time, you feel safe. And even though they may not be a good person.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Even though they may not be it's not that they're the greatest person. It's that you're just in this deep down place. And that's the person that's kind of lifting you out of it.
Right.
However they're doing it.
Right. Yeah. It may not be the best way, but they're making you feel some sort of normalcy, relief type rescue.
And because I think he knew I couldn't be like sexual, you know? And so I had to kind of open up with him a lot about things that had happened to me when I was growing up. And he was patient with me. Mm-hmm. He was good with me. Mm-hmm. He was respectful of me and my situation.
Yeah.
And so I think when we finally did, it definitely was a holding point for us.
Yeah.
The sucky part is, this is rough to say out loud, but he had already cheated on me.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my heart hurts so bad.
I know.
Because I think about, and in the future we'll get into it, but I think about some things that went on when Jason and I were dating. And that makes me so, because it's like, how do you do that?
He had already cheated on me, and I had almost felt like, and he, like I said, was very respectful for the most part, but when it came out what had happened, and that he did cheat on me, I definitely felt like part of it was because I didn't give him that
Oh, that makes me even that like my heart breaks that he did that, but then I'm so angry at him that you felt that way.
Okay. So the other part of it was with like my best friend at the time.
You just keep pouring salt. Pour the salt.
I know.
Oh.
This is not a made up story. I don't really tell people this because it's
hard. I never knew that.
Yeah. It's hard to say that because most people, okay, who are of sound mind would be like, well, hello, girl.
You just leave.
Hello. Why wouldn't you leave? Well, hello. Of course you married him and he still cheated. You know, of course, whatever. Why'd you stay with him?
Yeah.
But the 19-year-old girl in me was broken.
Mm-hmm.
I was
and he knew all of your cracks, and it's easy to stay because then you don't have to share those cracks with anyone else.
Yeah.
And he's got something special from you.
We were living together. We had an apartment together. Like we were knee deep in our relationship and on our path to being what I thought was together forever.
Right.
And how do you walk away from that? I left my mom. I left my brothers. I left my family. To move on and do this with someone who I thought was like my forever.
Yeah.
And this happens.
Right. Yeah.
And at the time I decided to let the friend go and keep him.
Ugh.
And I just
should have got, I should have got rid of them both. Neither of them were worth it.
Now the 30 plus person in my head knows that. But,
yeah, that's where living and learning. And when we think we may know stuff, but we don't know stuff.
Yes.
That's where that comes in.
Yeah.
So we should probably take a little break.
Okay.
And then come back in.
Okay.
Hey guys, we're back.
We're back. And we are back with a totally different topic.
Yeah,
right?
We're sorry. We started this out assuming we were going with introducing babies into the situation.
It's just kind of turned into a sex talk.
Yeah.
Sex before marriage.
Sex before marriage. Do or don't.
Yeah. And what happens?
Yes.
You get caught in these little traps.
Yeah. They are traps. See, that's why you don't want to get trapped before you get married. Well, and some people really do get trapped.
Yeah.
I probably should save this for later because I feel like we're talking about some other stuff. So I'll save that. Remind me about trapped later in our conversation. And I want to get back into what you were discussing because I feel like that is, well, one, I didn't know about it until today.
I know. Well, I know, like I said, and I kind of got emotional because it's not.
I know. I see your eyes like welling up and I'm like, don't ask her if she's going to cry. Don't ask her.
Because obviously, well, number one, that's honest. This is why this is real, right? This is raw talk.
Yeah.
Because sometimes this is what happens, right?
Right.
But it's not something that, I think I don't tell people because I look back and like I said, I look back and think,
oh, you idiot. Why
dummy,
would you do it?
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, listen to your, like you think you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this,
I
say this a lot this year with my 16-year-old, 15-year-old, where it's like, you guys think you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You think you have things figured out and you don't. And at 18, you still don't. And at 20, you still don't. And at 25, you still don't.
I
don't even have everything figured out at my age, but I look back and realize how ignorant to things I was.
Yes.
And that's, I think, when I came out of my marriage, I kind of would like say like, there's a part of you that needs to listen to your heart, but there's a part of you that needs to listen to your head too.
Yeah.
And it's really hard because
they're very conflicting.
They are. And your heart is so powerful sometimes.
Oh, your heart is so much more powerful than your head because your head's logical.
Yes.
And like we mentioned previously, you know, logically people think this way, bam, bam, bam. But your heart, it's got so much emotion and so much power. It can overwhelm you. It has
memories of your childhood and your past.
Yes.
Everything of who you are. Your heart
and your head is like, ding, ding, ding. Hello, dummy.
Yeah.
But your heart just won't go there because your heart says, but remember this. Hey, brain, remember that. Yeah. Remember this. Oh, like these great feelings. Like your heart wants to send your brain all these endorphins.
Right.
And your brain's like overwhelmed with it probably.
And the balance of the two is hard.
It is hard.
It is very hard. I mean,
it is.
Forever. It'll always be hard.
Absolutely.
You know? That's never going to go away as long as you're alive.
No. And even as a parent,
yes,
that gets in like,
in your marriage, in your day to day. I mean, everything.
Absolutely.
But I guess it's just kind of one of those things where I look back and I think that's why I look at it and think, you know, I don't know if I want my girls to be with the first person or that person forever, like their first forever, because typically it's a learning curve for most, you know?
For most, yeah.
And I mean that on the love aspect and the emotional side and the relationship side.
Yeah.
But I mean, you bring up some really good points of why it's probably best to just wait until marriage.
It's hard because I feel like this is one of those things when we had talked about big wedding, courthouse wedding.
Right.
I'm like, no, courthouse wedding because of money. But then I'm going all over and I'm like, I know I'm not making a great story for why I think this because it's hard. Nothing is black and white. It's not. I mean, if you're looking at biblically, religiously, it is black and white.
Yes.
You just don't.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
But unfortunately, we're sinners and a lot of things come into play and it's hard. And I guess for me looking back, I just think, and I don't know if she listens or not, but my girlfriend who married her husband and they waited, both of them waited, you know, it wasn't like one waited, one didn't kind of thing. They both waited. And I just think how special that is to have that.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, because I think back and I think, oh, when I was young and dumb, I thought like, oh, after high school, we'll get married, blah, blah, blah. No, we didn't even make it. I mean, like in senior year, stuff went down. Okay. Senior year stuff went down and no, we weren't making it. You know, past 17.
I guess if I have to, like, let's take the sex out of it for a second here. And let's just talk about relationships.
The emotional aspect.
Well, it is. It's so emotional. And I guess I'm thinking, you know, I would rather my girls live through relationships before they get to their relationship.
I agree with that aspect.
And so if we take the sex part out of it, because that can be anything. I mean, that can, whatever, you know, we talked about that. I mean, I think the hardest part is thinking about, I think the hardest part for me is thinking about one of my daughters holding on to a relationship with a guy who isn't good for her,
right,
or who I don't think is the best for her, because it's her first. And there's that bond.
You know what worries me about that is that, you know, we've talked about Hayden being emotional and stuff like that. Hayden is a lover. As big of a pain in the butt he is, my biggest, my biggest concern. One of my main concerns for Hayden growing up is I am afraid he will have his heart broken. And I'd rather him have his heart broken without him giving that to anyone.
Yeah.
Than giving that to someone and you can't take it back. It's one of those things, you know, you can't take it back. And he is a hardcore. I feel like he's very much like me in that. Like he's in it and he is all in it.
I totally see that. And I think there's a good chance that he is going to get his heart broken.
Yeah. And
that's
that is,
so,
I don't want
gosh.
to, like, we've dealt with, little girlfriends or whatever, and like, it's sad when this or that, but that like first where my boyfriend who I lost my virginity to, I do think I really did love him.
Right.
Like, this is one of those things where one of the reasons why I feel like you should wait till marriage, because there's always going to be a part of me that he had that no one else will ever have. That is something, there's something to be said for it.
Yeah.
And even though, there's no connection between us anymore, that's still an experience that from now until I die, I will look back until I get Alzheimer's. But until then, I will look back on that and I will remember those emotions that I had toward that person. Right. And they are, especially when you're a teenager, your emotions are so strong.
Yeah.
You think they rule the world.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things where I wish I could have those feelings only with my husband.
Right.
I wish I did, because not that I don't want to minimize like the experience and the relationship that I had with that person, but like my relationship that I have with Jason is forever and so deep, and no one will ever know me the way he does. And I wish that I could have given him all of that. I don't know. It's a very sentimental thing. I think
you could have just lied to him and told him that he was your first. I mean, I couldn't really carry that lie on.
I did.
4-year-old, but
a couple sessions in, I did start my period. So maybe he would have thought, hey, that's my V card just dropping out on your sheets.
Yeah, I'm a virgin.
It's possible. Like, oh yeah, hey, I know. I know we've talked before all of this, but yeah, no, that's true.
I just think it's so hard, and it's hard for me with girls, but you're right. Hayden is a very emotional person.
He will have his heart broken.
And he will. Yeah. And I
and
know
maybe Jackson will too.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm ready for that, but I know that my girls probably will too.
Oh, they will for sure.
They might.
Absolutely.
They might cut a guy after.
They're
a little
aggressive.
Aggressive.
We had, when I say we, I mean P, had a parent-teacher conference this week for her toddlers.
For an 18-month or 20-month-old.
Yeah.
Talk about being sent to the principal's office for 20 months.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We need a parent-teacher conference.
I know. Whoever thought at daycare you would have to have a parent-teacher conference. I mean, you normally wait until kindergarten, but Danny's a little over the top. Her godmother should be listening.
Yeah. I really wish that I could just pass those.
Ship her off to your godmother? Oh, pass those years?
I wish I could just pass those moments of like, you have to be sent to the principal's office for your kid. If I could just pass this off to the godparents, that would be great for me. I would really appreciate that.
I feel like the godfather would do a great job with those.
I think so too.
I feel like he's more of a, teddy bear, but I wonder for his own kids, is he going to be tough? And maybe you could do that for your goddaughter.
Maybe
this will be the first episode he listens to.
Okay. So,
back to all of those emotions.
Yeah. I think that that's the biggest thing is I just think that, there's so many things that play into that. And obviously age is a big thing too. And
when you're younger, a lot of people are typically doing these things before they become an adult.
Yes. I would say at least maybe try to wait till, you're in college and I don't know, and you're at least.
But I had when I was in college, I had a boyfriend that I moved out with him and I at least when I look back at my high school boyfriend, I think I was young and dumb. And I was young and dumb when I was 18. But why was I so young and dumb? Because I had already, that is one relationship that I wish I could, if I had one of those little
erasers, magic erasers.
Yeah, if I could be like an Incredible, one of those, what's that little guy who always erases people's memories on Incredibles?
Yeah.
If I could be like him, if I could have one of him to do that for me for at least that relationship.
Yeah.
That is by far my biggest regret.
Those regrets and all make you, and I'll tell you, I swear, like, not like I was super experienced in relationships. I was closed off. I had a lot of internal issues that I had to go through.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just learned a lot from my first marriage to carry me into my relationship now and my marriage with Tony.
I think you've learned a lot about it. I think that is a benefit of having a first marriage. Right. Going into your second marriage, you have a lot. Some people don't. My grandpa, we're not certain how many marriages my grandpa has had. But I mean, obviously there are different situations and reasons why, all of that. But I do think for people who grow and learn from previous relationships, they get at least that. You do get growth out of it.
You do. Absolutely.
You do. And I think I guess what I would worry about my kids is not so much that they're not going to grow, but sorry guys, Missy is having a little bit of an issue. But I guess I don't worry so much that my kids won't learn, because I do think, in the past, gosh, we've been married 13 years and together 16 and a half years or something like that. And I think in that time frame, I've also learned and I've grown so much.
Yeah.
So there is that growth and that learning that you can experience while being married. And
I mean, look, we haven't even, and there's so many things that we need to get into, but I mean, marriage is a constant learning road.
Yeah.
And because what we were originally going to talk about was kids, it's like that dynamic changes your marriage so much.
And you really do have to learn and, I mean, reshape, restructure. There's a lot that comes into it.
I look at, we'll go into my marriage with Tony and me and us adding kids. And it's like, we would be good with each other forever, just us. Although we had Tristan, so that would always be the three of us forever.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the other two. But and I would be okay with that, because I truly enjoy the person that I married.
Yes.
We are friends.
Mm-hmm.
We are husband and wife, and we are friends.
Yeah.
And I truly enjoy him, but it's a different dynamic with kids. And
it is.
And boy, some strengths really come out with kids that people have, and some weaknesses really come out with kids. And it's a different dynamic. I mean,
it is.
Having Tristan so young, first of all, pregnancy, easy. Besides the fact that she didn't want to come out for a week. Easy.
Yeah, our first kids were not very friendly in that manner.
Which is normal, right? They say it's normal.
I suppose.
Your first ones take a little bit longer to want to come out, and whatever, they like being cooked in the belly, I guess. But kids change things.
They do.
I mean, and I think it really even starts in the pregnancy, because your body starts to change your hormones and your emotions, and how hormonal you can be, and how your partner reacts to that.
Yes.
I mean, those are big signs. And
Absolutely.
those are big changes that start to happen at that age and at
Absolutely.
that stage.
I 100% agree. I think so. One of the things about, because I know we're nearing our end, but one of the things when I mentioned remind me about Trapped is that when Jason and I, like, dating, we had our rocky patch. We broke up. We got back together, like had a really good patch. We had talked about obviously getting married and having kids and that kind of thing. And this is where I think being young and dumb plays in for me is I was like, I want a baby now. Let's have a baby. Jason, Jason's not going to fight me on very much, right?
No.
So he's like, okay, even though like
You're
now
pretty to fight.
Oh,
he's just going to go
you're too
with
generous.
it.
But I'm like, let's have a baby. So I told my
He's
mom,
all, hey, I like doing that.
right?
I like working on that
let's
project.
practice. He didn't realize it happened so fast, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I told my mom for the longest time, like, yeah, because I was on the ring. So I was like, I forgot to put my ring in. And I guess when really we were trying, because I was 22 and dumb. And actually, when I got pregnant with him, I was 21, almost 22, like a couple months before I turned 22. I was 21 and just thought, hey, like we're talking about this stuff. And that's one of those things where it's like, if you get married before you have sex, then you don't have to worry about this. I just think back and I think, what an idiot I was.
Yeah.
I was 20. I could have been 22 years old with a baby by myself.
Right.
And at that point, gosh, I worked at Sunglass Hut. What am I going to do? Support my baby on Sunglass Hut wages? What is wrong with you? I'd have to move back in with my mom, have to be on nothing wrong with people who have to go on welfare for assistance to get through some patches. We both grew up having to do that. Yeah. And it's like, but I look back and I think, like now at this point in my life, I would never.
That is the scary thing. And that is, I think, one of the scariest parts of, and I don't know, I think you hope that it's a bag of everything that you've taught your kids, to respect their bodies, to respect them, to be smart and not stupid. Mm-hmm. And if you are going to have sex, use protection. Don't be dumb because you're not invincible. Yeah. No one is. And if you think you want to have a baby when you're young, you don't.
Rethink it. I would not change anything because I love my kid. And obviously things worked out for me.
Yes.
But
you had the right husband. You had the right man in your life, but that could have
very easily had been different.
Right.
It could have been.
Right.
My life could be so different right now.
Right.
And I just think that I look back and I think, what a freaking idiot I was at 22, 23, thinking that I have life figured out. And because we've talked about it, but like
you're so blinded by that love.
Yes. Yes. And Jason tells me now, obviously he never said anything at the time, but he tells me now that, he would have liked us to have been married. He would have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why didn't you say that? Well, I don't know. Maybe when you're 28 and you have a 21-year-old telling you she wants to have a baby with you, maybe you get excited. I don't know. I don't know what happens. But he, says,
well, he just didn't want to lose you. He was going to do whatever it took.
Whatever it takes. I don't know. But I look back and I think, I wish. There's Danny. Danny's always the one that comes. You never hear Jeej. It's always Danny. Yes, godmother, always Danny. But you just, I don't know. You're just so young and dumb, and you just need to really think about where you're at. And I know it's hard. I mean, when you're 21, you can't say, just think about where you're at because you think, oh, I'm in love and we're talking about this and this is happening.
We're going to be together forever.
Yeah.
He is the person. And I'll tell you that the person that you love and all of those wonderful things, and you guys have this great relationship, it's so much harder when you add kids to the mix.
Adding kids, oh my gosh, we will get into it. That is gonna happen for us.
Yes.
not this episode, but we will get into that because that's a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are amazing and they are special, but they add something to your relationship that
they add something called stress. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really,
no stress, but it really does test a relationship.
It does.
It does.
Okay. Well, I think we can kind of close it up today. And then I think next week we definitely are going to hit the topic of how
being pregnant, how pregnancy impacts your relationship, babies. And who knows what else we start talking about. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see, right?
What happens when we start talking.
I want to say congratulations to Lindsay A. Leo. She won our Swap Swag bag. Yes. So congratulations. Hopefully she will send us some pictures once she gets it. She is in the middle of a move and has requested that we do not send it to her yet.
Yes.
So we will hold on to it, but hopefully we get some amazing pictures of her that we can post.
Yes. Don't forget, that's my little Danny in the background spitting. Don't forget, if you do not follow us for some reason on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and I think
that was Danny's head.
That was Danny. To follow Real Ash and P.
Yes. Follow us. And then please also, if you would not mind, we would love for you to rate our podcast on whichever platform you are listening. There are so many. We're not even going to list them now, but just please rate us. And
don't forget to share this with someone who you may think could get something out of it. Maybe you want your young daughter to hear it and say, hey, see, look, you need to listen to these,
or even a younger
ladies,
sister, maybe an older sister who you feel is not making great decisions, but whoever you think could benefit, we would love for them to hear our story. Oh goodness. That way they can maybe learn from some of the experiences that we had.
Yeah. Our journey and our mistakes.
And they can avoid them for themselves.
Yes.
Thanks for swapping.
Guys. Thanks for swapping with us. Segment music by Callie Grace. For more of Callie Grace's hits, follow Callie Grace on iTunes and Spotify today.